Going on, Fit Fam? What can I say? This is, I feel like everything's a reboot, right? I mean, every week, every day is a constant reboot. So let me just give you an update. What's happening? So I am at the end of my second week before my layoff is completed, and so I've been applying, right? So I have HR on my side supporting me, my manager on my side. So anytime I apply internally, they send out an update to the recruiter and hiring manager and say, "Hey, take a look at this guy. We want to keep him." Blah blah blah. Out of all of that, I've applied to over 20 internal jobs. 20. Out of all that, I've had two interviews with the same hiring manager, which is great. He's a great, I mean, we get along. Let me just say this side note, leadership is huge. When you find a manager who knows how to lead, how to be a person, how to not be so structured and rigid, I think that is key. And so he and I, just with the interview, I can tell that we've got rapport, we get along, we communicate well. He has a sense of humor, which I enjoy, which is very rare. And I would say that all of the interviews that I've had for jobs that I've had and jobs that I didn't get, the two interviews that stick out to mind is with this company that I'm currently with. Whatever reason, the leadership team there seems to have it. And just it could be coincidence, I don't know. Obviously there's going to be other issues. But fast forward 20 jobs I've applied. I've had two interviews and I've crickets on the other side. Crickets. I mean, there's some positions have already gone out, people have gotten hired. Like I didn't even get a bite. There is so I do have an interview tomorrow, which is for the same company I'm working for now, the same account, pays way less. I mean, I kid you not. It's gonna sound exaggerated. It's literally $40,000 less than what I'm making right now. So, but it's you got to survive. But this whole loop and thinking and diving into this, I mean, what would you do? How would you like? I've been laid off 4 times. I don't know anyone who's gotten laid off 4 times. I know people have gotten fired. I know people have gotten laid off here and there, but 4 times. So I started doing some soul searching. What does this entail? Like, what is the universe telling me? Should I be at a corporate job or do I need to start my own company? Now, I've had dabblings, like I have an LLC. My wife and I started one. Even before my wife, I had I guess a S corp company that I don't know, I was gonna do. I was graphic design, personal trainer. I was kind of in that, just dabbling. I didn't do anything with it, so I closed it. But then when I met my wife, she was into photography, had a photography business, and so we thought, well, let's make it legit. Let's start a company, an LLC. So we've hung on to this LLC for a while. This whole full circle is like, is the universe telling me that I need to just start my own business and just do that? Like I've been having this idea of doing AI ads, uh, what else? Courses for people, which I'm working on. And for it's for my own enjoyment. It's not really to make money, but it's to combine how can I do what I enjoy? Because I know the money's gonna show up, right? That is one thing I learned a long time ago is you gotta find something that energizes you. And if you find that thing, money's gonna show up. You'll make money. Um, there's another story I gotta tell you about that. Anyways, so here I am doing some soul searching, like literally spiritual, just searching. I have a whiteboard here. I wrote down my decisions, my goals, everything, like a vision board. Started listening to a gentleman named David Bayer. I'll link him in the show description. And I came across, and he's been very, very insightful. Then I came across someone else. His name is Sean Clayton. And both of those guys, and I actually bought one of David Bayer's books, literally go into the quantum physics of what everything's happened. And it just ties into crazy enough. We were talking about conspiracy theories and talking about how people are having the Mandela effect and stuff like that, and things like, Star Wars. Does Darth Vader say, Luke, I am your father? Or does he say, no, I am your father? Now, logically, you would think, well, if you remember, the quote is, Luke, Obi-Wan didn't tell you what happened to your father. And then Luke says, no, this is childhood memory right here. No, he said that you killed my father. And what does Vader say? Luke, I am your father. Right? But in the movie, he says, no, I am your father. So it's just kind of this Mandela effect stuff, crazy. Anyways, a lot of people are saying that it's related to CERN, and CERN is into quantum physics. You connect the dots. When you start looking at the dots and connecting those, and obviously a lot of people think that's so crazy. And then I came across another podcast, which kind of blew my mind, which I didn't even know existed, by what's the girl from, what is it? I don't know. It's a show I never watched, but it's her name is Dr. Mayim Bialik. Bialik. Um, I can't remember the show, but it was a popular show with a bunch of nerds and quantum physics and science and all that stuff. Anyway, she's got a podcast and she's interviewing Lisa Kudrow from Friends. Lisa Kudrow starts going down stuff like her mom texted her, but her mom was dead. I mean, just really supernatural, spiritual things that, I mean, I do believe in that. I believe it's true. I believe it's real. I'm not skeptical. There's certain things that probably have happened to me that I haven't really realized. Full circle. What is the universe trying to tell me? Do I need to start my own business? And I started assessing. Let's see. My biological father, which I'm not close to, he has his own business. My mother, which I've always struggled with, but she had her own business. And here I am. Like, how come there was no influence from both of them for me to start my own business? Why is that? Like, I went straight into the corporate world. I started getting jobs, and I've always had a job at the corporate world. And now I'm thinking, after 4 layoffs, it has to be a sign. So the opportunity that I'm looking at, and you guys do it, and I can make tutorial videos and you can follow along, and which I plan on doing. But one of them is to follow just AI ads, because I always enjoyed that. I thought they were funny, and I think it's nice. You can have your own production right on your computer. And just give you a background, I dabbled in indie filmmaking. I was an actor, so I did that for a while. So I understand the film process, pre-production, production. I've written a couple scripts, I've edited, so I know how to do those things. It's in my toolbox. And then the other one was training, learning, and development. I'm working on a course for AI to teach people how to utilize AI. I mean, just to break it down, make it more simple. Because I assume, I haven't done my research, but I assume there are people out there that feel that they're left behind. Like, this thing is going so fast, and even today, at the my parent company, I attended a meeting. I think it was yesterday. Was it today? That's how crazy it is. They were talking about AI and how to implement, and they have all these groups that kind of help you utilize in your workflow. And there was a gentleman, elderly, who was like, I don't even know how to do this. How do I get into this? How do I work this? Like, there's nobody, no one who can just walk me through, like a tutor. That's what he really needed, was a tutor. And people are like, well, there's this class. You can take this class, and you just got to try it out. And I understand the hesitation. If you're just not familiar, you don't even know where to start. And I I put in the chat, I was like, hey, I'm looking for a job. Someone wants to develop a tutor position, I'll do it because I know I can do it. Obviously that fell on deaf ears. But so here I am looking at what kind of job, and then I stumble across a video. I started watching these videos of the job that AI won't take, or the top 10 boring jobs that nobody wants that are safe, that recession safe. And so I started looking at those and going, well, what, you know, there's like compliance, there's people who own vending machines, there's people, it even had paralegals. And I thought that was going away because of AI, but it had paralegals. It had some other ones that just didn't sound that great. But then I came across another video, obviously the algorithm is sending me this, government contracting. Now, when I first heard I was getting laid off, I joined a hackathon and I was creating a workflow for the accounting department and doing the hackathon thing. But one of the ladies in that team sent me basically a link to government or the state. We're in the state of Washington, the state contracting bids. It's called WEBS, Washington something employee bids or something. I don't know. And so I was like, oh, that's interesting. So I just kind of tucked it away and I was like, oh, I'll hang on to that. And then I come across this other video about contracting with the government. Now, the government's huge. So it's not a scarcity mentality. And I know they always say that with multi-level marketing. It's huge. You're not saturated, but this is totally different ballgame. What you do is you basically will find the contracts and then you'll find the subcontractors to do the work. And you're not technically the middleman, but you are the point person, the project manager that does the rearranging, does all the paperwork and does all the contacting and all that. So that's what we started to do. We registered with sam.gov, registered with our state's thing, and I was talking to another friend that he was with me when I got laid off from Boeing, and we both got laid off from there. And he works for a public utilities department now, and he was like, "There's tons of contracts there." So, point being, I'm sharing this not out of a mind of scarcity, but to say, "Hey, I think there's an opportunity for those of you who are interested in doing this. We could team up. I can share what I'm learning and you could share what you're learning and that type of thing. Otherwise, if you're all employed, awesome. Congratulations. You're winning." So that's what I have been doing. Digging into that. I haven't started yet, but I've been doing my registration, making sure my business license up to par, going back and forth, looking at I guess they're called NAICS numbers, the type of business that you run, what the category is. Got that underway, which I guess Washington doesn't require it, but it's good to know. And then you have to have an entity number, which you register with SAM and it gives you an entity number. And then there's something about a cage code. I'm like, I have no idea what that is. So there's a lot of terminology that I have to learn and pick up. But you know what? AI is there. So you could just feed it into AI and say, hey, what is this? What's the workflow? Which I started doing. I was like, what's the workflow? What are the things I need to look at? How does doing taxes? Do I need to get another QuickBooks account, which I had before? For my contracting biz. So it's just, I'm not efficient at business ownership yet, but I mean, I have done taxes. I understand the tax stuff. Did that. And so here we are. This is where we're at. I got one more week of employment. Um, and then they either if I do get laid off, I think I get like a small severance or something. And then our insurance, the medical insurance, which is the key for me. That is the only reason why I'm looking for this job or any job is because my daughter is having treatment covered by insurance, which was a pain to get approved. So if I stay with the same company, stay with the same insurance company, medical insurance, we can continue the treatments. Update on that is that she's doing better. She's not 100%, but she is doing better. And we've noticed a change. And what she was getting was IVIG. She was diagnosed with PANS, and it's putting in good antibodies to fight the bad inflamed antibodies, basically. So I mean, there's moments where she has some things, and she's only had one treatment, so that's a good sign. The next treatment I think is scheduled for next week. last week of work. So we're going to do that and then go from there. So, but I'm going to share something with you that no one shared with me when I was younger. I heard this when I got older. And if you have kids, if you are a kid or you're younger, if you're in your 20s and younger, take this one because this is the key. And I wish I would have known this when I was younger. When you find something that you enjoy that energizes you, that's what you should do for a living, period. No one ever told me that. I think I got into the mindset of I was looking for money. So when I was younger, I wanted to be a graphic designer. And so I went to community college. They said, "Oh, do you have a portfolio?" I was like, "No, I don't draw." So I don't know why. I just thought graphics were just so cool, like marketing and advertising and logos and colors and ads and stuff. I didn't have that. So they said, "Oh, get into this publishing arts class and you'll learn the tools on how to create a portfolio. And then after that, you can reapply to the graphic design program." So after the first year, I had the decision, do I stay in this and get a associate's of applied science degree, or do I start over for another 2 years and go into graphic design? Well, trying to be efficient, I'm like, that's a waste of time. I'll just finish this off. And so I did, but I still built a portfolio. And then when I transferred to a 4 year university, the process there was just finishing off the degree. So it was applied science. So it was called an upside down degree, which I never heard of either. And, typical college is you go to your community college, you do all your undergrad requirements, and then you transfer and do your major stuff at the university. Well, this one was reversed. So it said that I basically did my major and then I would do my general requirements at the university, which I did, but I got to pick. And a lot of the stuff I picked was media based, art based, uh, health based, because I was a personal trainer before I went to college. And it blew my mind. I learned so much. In growing up, I remember my mom, who was ultra religious, told me that meditation was bad. What did I do? In college, I signed up for a meditation class. I was like, let me see how bad this is. It wasn't bad. So there is a sense of spirituality that goes outside of the typical church. And so I think that's why I never really felt like I belonged in a church. And I went to church all my life until I was, what, 18. I was forced, you know. We had Wednesday night service, we had Sunday night service, or Sunday morning service, and then we had Sunday night. I was just like, oh my gosh. But I went, did it. I mean, I know here's how bad it is. If you want to say I'm a late bloomer, I'm a late bloomer. It's so bad. I know more about Bible stories than I do about the US history. That's how bad it is. To this day. And frankly, I'm not a history buff either, but it's just because it was just indoctrinated into my brain. All that I don't know where I was going with this. So as I'm editing, I realize I remember what I was trying to make. My main point was when I went to college, I was trying to be a graphic designer. When I came out of college, I decided not to be a graphic designer because of money. Because I saw that people who were graphic designers, I did a comparison, looked it up on the net, and I was like, oh, they're not making a lot of money. So then I went into learning and development, and I got into that because I used to be a personal trainer and kind of wrapped that around and said, oh, I can be a trainer and go into learning and development. Before I became a trainer, before I went to college, I had a Microsoft Systems certification. What is it? A MCSE, Microsoft Certified Systems Engineer. So I had that cert, which was crazy, and then had a technical background. I was an information security analyst, and then went to college. And that's when I changed. I wanted to do something more artistic, more fun. And that's what led me into learning and development. And then I started taking courses on um, instructional design, got certified in that, yada, yada, yada. But all that to say, this path led me down this road for money, not because of energy, but for money. All I have to say is that there is a spiritual realm. That is true. Is it only in the church? No, it is not. Are there signs and meditations and things out there? Yes, I am learning that. I'm feeling it and I believe it. It's working. My wife had a spiritual kind of thing that she happened and she saw her grandmother's and the light in like a sweat lodge, I think is what it was. Uh, so I am on the journey. I'm on the journey to really define why am I here? What am I supposed to be doing? You know, if it's not being in the corporate world, because obviously I'm not making a difference if they're laying me off, right? If if you're a manager, a program manager, you're revamping the whole team, and the next thing you know, you're being laid off. What's the point in that? And then they have to revamp it anyways and redo it. So it's just an interesting vibe that's happening. And the thought is this is my plan. You know, if I don't get hired, which I mean, there's a possibility. I put some energy into that too. I'm like, sure, yeah, I want to get a job. Uh, one of the positions that I applied for makes more than what I make now. One of them makes a little less, and then the interview I have tomorrow makes a whole lot less. But the whole goal is, what is my main goal in that? My main goal is my daughter, maintain health insurance. That's it, and pay rent. I mean, we gotta pay rent and provide and all that. So that's where we're at. I think right now, owning your own business and starting this, I think at this point, I just have to learn the workflow for the government stuff and then we're off and running, which doesn't seem that hard. I think you kind of learn as you go. So we've already started getting emails coming in because we signed up for bid notifications. But then I'm also looking at, our state, all the public utilities to try to get on their list. And I haven't put in any much time because I think at the end of the day after working, which I'm working with the transition team who's supposed to be taking over all my tasks. At the end of the day, I'm just wiped. I'm like, what's the last thing I want to do? But we're definitely getting to that point. So leave a comment if you are interested in diving into this with me. Definitely want to start a community. If you're doing what you feel like your purpose is, tell me. I'm curious. What is your purpose and how did you find it? How was it that you fell into it? Was it something that you sought after? Was it an inner voice? Was it a visit of some kind of spiritual being that said you should do this? Did you fall into it? Was there a coincidence? Is there such a thing as a coincidence? I don't think so. So, like, is it a coincidence that I'm being laid off the fourth time? After the third time, it's like, no, I don't think it's a coincidence. I think there's some message that's happening. So leave me a comments. Let me know what's up. And as soon as time is available, I'm gonna start doing first. My first goal is to do this AI course. I'm just gonna put it out there, just see what everyone thinks, and make it very simplistic. Break it down, easy to digest. It's not to go in the technical stuff. It's just how to utilize it. Because there's a lot of AI companies right now that you can just do free stuff on. You know, I think they'll eventually lock it down. Maybe I don't know. But like Tubi, you can watch free movies. You don't have to have an account. So on the AI side, Anthropic. Here's the first lesson. You have Chat GPT, right, which is owned by OpenAI. That's the company. You have Claude, which is owned by Anthropic. That's a company. Then you have Perplexity, which I guess it's owned by Perplexity, but that's you all three of those you can try. Then you have Gemini, which is owned by Google. That's AI. Give that a try. Type in there. And here's if you have never used AI or you're scared you use AI, go into one of those and just go, what can you do? That's it. You know? Or there's a let me just give you this. I'm going to put this in the show notes. I saw this and I thought this was really smart. There's a framework that utilize an AI if you wanted to do something. And this was very useful. And obviously, everyone has their own technique. So, I mean, there's no wrong or right way to do it, but this would help you kind of narrow down what you're looking for. It's called the CRIT framework. It's the context. You provide thorough background of information. What are you trying to do? So for me, if I'm a learning and development program manager, I'm trying to create this course for AI on how to utilize AI. And then the next one is R, role. You assign a specific expert persona. So then I would say you are an expert instructional designer or an educator or a professor, and with 20 years of experience, who knows how to write curriculum that it's very technical and you can break it down for normal users. Typically, and this is something, I don't know if you guys know this, probably not. I was shocked when I heard it. When it comes to learning and development for corporations, the key is to break it down to a seventh grade level. That's how you have to write the content to be more digestible, more edible, more comprehensible. So you would also put in there, break it down to a seventh grade level. Then you say interview. You tell AI to ask you questions to uncover insights you may not have considered. So what I've done is I say, ask me questions until you're 95% certain you know exactly what I want. So that's the last. The last thing is the task. Define your output. What do you want it to do? So you have the context, you tell it what the whole domain of what you're looking at, the role, how you want it to act, and then the interview and saying, interview me, ask me questions so you know what I want. And then the task. And I want you to, and then my case is going to be, I want you to write me a curriculum, steps, modules, everything that I need to train users on how to understand how to utilize AI, how to make it digestible and make it easy so that people can just start using it. Because I think there is a group of people, and I think obviously AI, and I don't know, I have to wonder, and I assume majority is not utilizing it for whatever reason, because it went so fast, because they don't understand it, because data centers, because they're afraid that the data centers are going to soak up all the power and you got to use it. I mean, there's a lot of caveats to that, but I think there's a certain degree, like obviously I don't smoke, right? So in the health and fitness industry, people are saying now that if you get a nicotine patch and you microdose, it's going to help you. I haven't tried it, but I'm like, I'll try it, you know? So it's kind of like that kind of mentality. Is it going to change your life? Will it help you become smarter, sharper if you know how to utilize it? Like, you can't use it like Google. That's the issue. People are using it like Google and they're just wasting the concept. It's just going to tell you. I mean, if you're going to use Google, just go to Google. Why use AI? So let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. This was one of the longest chatters I've ever had. So see you in the next one.